What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today, we're continuing our North Node, South Node series, and we'll be discussing North Node or Rahu in the 4th, South Node or Ketu in the 10th. And, a lot of you know my passion for astrology, and it's always a beautiful thing to do these series and then to have you guys hit me up and read your charts personally, because like I said, everyone is an individual story. And when we get Rahu or the North Node here in the 4th house, it's very, very interesting, because so far in our series, what is this? The first water house. So always keep in mind the natural correspondences to the house, regardless of what sign is ruling your house. The houses still have their natural correspondences to their elements and their signs. And the 4th house relates to Cancer and the moon. And Cancer is the sign of mother, our roots, our psychological conditioning, upbringing, ability to nurture others and be nurtured in return, right? And then, of course, the North Node of Rahu is what we're here to ascend to, right? The characteristics we really need to embrace and, archetype that we need to project. And then what's the South Node? The South Node shows where we've been, right? What lessons we understand already. And very much so, our past life karma and things of that nature. So let's get into it. This is an interesting one, okay? So regardless of the sign, right? You can have a Rahu in Pisces, you can have it in Aquarius. That depositor is going to be the depositor and is going to give us information. But no matter what, we have to look at the condition of the person's moon because of this 4th house influence. So when the North Node of Rahu comes into the 4th house, this denotes, incarnation where the presence, or you're going to deal with a lot of karma regarding home life and your mother. Okay, so this can work out a lot of different ways, but because of the nature of the North Node, which I feel like is like a trickster in a certain sense, right? Because it's like, what am I going to do to achieve this peace of mind that I desperately seek? And in this house, or destiny I should say, but in this house, that is what the native wants. They want peace of mind. But like I said, this is a natural water house, and this isn't necessarily the place for Rahu. So Rahu is never really settled here, okay? Even if the depositor is in, good dignity and things like that, the native is always going to be mentally restless, okay? Now, this comes with a good amount of, intelligence. So the person will see, within their childhood, when it came to, school and things like that, they could themselves be a natural. But it's this thing where whatever's happening at home is where their main focus is, okay? So this can play out in the sense of having a very difficult, upbringing, right? Or it can also denote the fact that you learned something early on about your family, about your mother, that dynamic that sticks with you and has a large effect on how you think and interact with the world going on forward. So, to say it in a more clearer sense, people with North Node and Rahu, you're meant to, get your values or have your values developed or molded through a particular parent. Now, say this is a North Node in Capricorn, okay, and Saturn's having a major influence. It could block the relationship with mother. It could show somebody who is raised by outside outside sources. So non-traditionally, could be by the grandparents, could be aunts and uncles. A lot of different scenarios happen here. So if you are looking at a chart, you see North Node in the 4th house, you want to, of course, look at the depositor of that sign and what it's doing. But you want to run to the moon. See, where is the moon, right? Where is the bulk of the person's emotions going, right? And how is that moon aspected? More times than not, just off of what I've seen, it's always a little difficult, with the mother. Let's say, but it doesn't have to be, but let's just say you have like an exalted moon. Say your moon is like in Taurus or something. And that'll show like materially, mom could have been, materialistic or, provided you with a lot of luxurious things growing up, but maybe emotionally there was always a distance, or that's what it was always about. If this is a Sagittarius moon, you could have a different ideology, or see things differently than your mother saw them, right? Or you can just have a different philosophical outlook than your family and your parents. But the childhood here is going to be very, very important, and how the person grows up and projects out into that 10th house. So the 10th house, the South Node influence here, it kind of, I feel like it makes one like skip the childhood, because remember, the South Node is what we already know. So say we get somebody who is in a tough environment, right? They're growing up in a tough environment. There could be mad siblings. They feel overlooked, right? Maybe, they don't even live with their mother. They live with the opposite parent or somebody else, right? What this does is it forces the person to grow up fast, right? And they start looking at that 10th house already like, okay, this is my way to happiness. I'm going to provide for myself. I'm going to give myself the peace of mind. So it kind of always makes them have to grow up fast, and like they skip elements of the childhood and their own emotional understanding. Because remember, at the same time, I like to look at these energies as somewhat unconscious, right? So unconsciously, the North Node is searching for peace of mind and emotional fulfillment, but based on the sign that it is in, it's going to make you believe that is how you find it. However, like I said, pay attention to your moon and the aspects to the moon. If your moon is in trine to Neptune or Uranus, well, if it's in trine to Neptune, it's going to show, you can free yourself through, you can find emotional fulfillment through creativity, being artistic, right? If it's Uranus, this is the cool one. I've seen this many, many times. Just in general, a general aspect, that'll denote unconventional living. Okay, so the person will most likely go times where they live with this parent, or they live with that parent, or they live with, a relative or whatever. It could show going to being separated from your parents because you have to move to another country, or they do. So many, many things. So like I said, you want to pay attention to the moon, and that is how you'll find the emotional fulfillment. And then it's kind of like whatever sign your North Node is in, as you get older, you'll fall into that role. Okay, so if it's in Libra, you'll see after your Saturn return, you feel a lot more balanced and understanding and a little bit more at peace. Okay, but kind of a difficult position, because like I said, you're never really at rest, and you never really obtain that peace of mind early on. Okay, but also, so if there are any planets in your 10th house sitting with the South Node, automatic indicator of continuing Dharma. All right. If it's Venus there, you were likely did something in your career where, you know, your creativity was a part of that, or working with others was a part of that, and that's a very much so a natural gift and a natural thing for you to do. I find that in the 10th house, you know, the nodes are a lot more supportive, north or south, okay, in terms of, you know, finding your niche or what you should do. So if you have, like I said, a planet there, Mars or whatever, whatever you naturally gravitate towards is likely to be a part of your dharma, you know, from past lives, and shows you very much so here to continue that. But the overall thing that this position wants is a good relationship with family, right? But also their own independence. Because most situation is going to be a thing where you want to break away from family so you can find your peace of mind. And like I said, as you get older, it gets better. So finding that balance within, you know, your family karma and everything like that, but as well as being able to be independent, provide for yourself. And if this happens in mutable signs, guys, if this is in mutable signs, huge indicator that you should probably travel a lot in life, right? Live maybe state to state, live in a different country for the mutable signs. Pisces, Gemini, Sag, and Virgo. Alright? So, this is my interpretation of North Node of Rahu in the 4th house, South Node of Ketu in the 10th house. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you need a reading, feel free to email me. Got any comments, leave them there. Until next time, peace.